I'm Ellis Martin. I invite you to join me now in the Malibu studios of the Ellis Martin Report for a conversation with actor, model, journalist, spokesperson, director, producer, and master of improv, Christine Nguyen. Christine was born in Saigon, Vietnam, and raised in Houston, Texas. She went on to train at the Los Angeles branch of the Australian Institute of Dramatic Arts. Ms. Nguyen has appeared in dozens of projects which have aired on CBS, NBC, Fox, Comedy Central, Spike, HBO, G4, Discovery, and Showtime. You've seen her in films such as Get 'Em to the Greek, and we welcome her to the program today at the edge of the continent, overlooking the Pacific Ocean at Zuma Beach in Malibu. Here in Malibu with Christine Nguyen.
Hello.
Oh, you've got your sexy voice on.
I do.
Hey, I'll put mine on too. How you been doing?
I'm just great. Thanks so much for having me. Okay, I can't do this anymore.
I understand you just finished a film in Texas. How did that go?
Oh my gosh, it was great. Wow, it was so good to start working again. It felt great. I kid you not. It's like not having sex in like 6 months and you finally do. It was amazing.
That's like COVID, by the way. Like COVID, no sex, no nothing. You're not allowed to do anything.
COVID quarantine, well, unless
COVID
you're
quarantine.
lucky to have some. I tell you what, Amazon, did you hear what the Amazon workers were complaining of? So there's this thing with Amazon, certain things would ship faster than others.
So the dildos weren't getting shipped around?
No. They were the number one thing getting shipped. And I think if we could find it, you guys go on YouTube and look up quarantine, essential items, Amazon, DILDOS.
Why don't, and I'm probably going to have to edit this out, why don't you have your own line of Christine Nguyen dildos? Why hasn't that happened yet?
Okay, so I've been asked, no, you laugh, but okay, you brought this up. When I worked with Playboy, I was endorsed by many different toy companies just because the fact that I was doing a lot of stuff for Playboy. And then there was a lovable doll. Yeah. It is what you think it is, that they made of me, but I didn't want my name to be associated with it, so it was just the Asian lovable doll. But if you look them up, you'll see. It's eerie, kind of, these silicone dolls.
Can you still buy them?
They're very expensive. I don't know that the one that was made of me, the lovable doll, yeah, you can buy them, and they're expensive. They're not cheap.
Well, like $100?
No, those are the blow-up ones that you get at the pleasure chest, you know, and these are silicone based. I mean, I had to go into like a 3D machine and everything.
You've done all that.
I've lived a colorful life.
That is so cool.
Very
and
colorful
so wrong,
life.
Too. I do want to tell you this. You're in my closet. I've got one of the Christine Nguyen blow-up donated.
So that's why sometimes
dolls.
when I say, let's hang out, and you're like, no, I'm good. Fair enough. Whatever.
Okay, no, I don't.
You can't say anything I haven't heard before, I haven't thought before, so. You know that afterwards I would have been in there going, yeah, that's me. I'm vain too, so I want to make sure you have it. We digressed, sorry. Anyhow.
Boy, did we ever digress.
Yeah.
Boy, did we ever digress.
This is for another conversation.
Okay, well.
I'm back.
You're back and you have something to say. You just came from Texas, which is a unique country. You did a film there.
Yes, I did.
And it's its own place. And I remember going through Texas quite a bit in between radio jobs back in the mid-'70s. I used to get fired a lot. So I was a cyclopedia salesman in Texas. And I was called out often because I clearly don't look Texan. We don't know, Middle Eastern, Jewish, East Indian. We don't know what I look like. And that was the thing. That was a problem back then. I didn't care, but, you're singled out, or you were in Texas, which typically has been known in the past, and maybe presently, for its racism. Am I right, Christine?
I'm going to tell you this. Because I live there, I have a huge, huge love for my home state. And I went through a little bit of racism there when I was younger. But when you're younger, things bounce off you a little bit easier. And then by the time I got older, I think the people that I chose to hang around, I never really felt that. And I was such a strong person that maybe if I did encounter it, I just let it roll right off me like a duck. But nowadays, like I said, I was just there. And I kid you not, I felt at home like that was my home. I will tell you a story later on in the podcast, what happened recently. But I don't think it is. Texans are good old people. Texas is actually quite the melting pot, especially the city I'm from, Houston.
Well, Houston is.
It's ridiculously international.
Dallas not so much.
Dallas
Houston,
not so
definitely.
much, but I can't speak too much about Dallas because I've only spent maybe a handful of times up there, a day here, a day there. But I did work with a lot of people from Dallas this time, and they were the most genuine, the biggest hearts. And I just have to say, Texans, I don't think anyone's racist there. It is a very red state, though. But what I know about Texans is they talk to you. Many times I've met somebody and felt like, oh, I don't know if this person's going to accept me, nowadays even. But if they get to know you and they will talk to you, and this is what I appreciate. They'll talk to you and they get to know you, and then they'll decide whether or not they like you. And then that will stick. But they'll give you a chance. And this is just coming from me because I pick and choose who I hang around. And then if I am thrown in a crowd of people I don't know, what I put out there, I think, is what I get back. And that's a big thing too. And I think Texans appreciate people who are real, who are true, who are transparent, and not a bunch of bullshit talkers. Texans appreciate people who are themselves. They don't like plastic people. Because I've come back sometimes, and even my brothers have been kind of like, and even I feel this sometimes. I come back and I talk the way I do because I'm in the entertainment industry. I live in LA. I have a different mindset because I have to. This is my industry, and certain things I have to keep up with that may be not important, to someone in a different part of the country. But I'll go back to Texas sometimes and I'm talking, and all of a sudden I think to myself, God, I sound plastic. But that's just because the industry I'm in. I'm not in oil and natural gas. I'm not in finances, and I'm not in business. My industry is about entertainment and fantasy. And so the things I talk about might seem a bit materialistic or just like flighty or fanciful to some people, but that's my industry. But the more I talk to someone, the more they know me and who I am shines through, the more I get respect from them. I think that's true anywhere. And that's what I want to say. One of my biggest things I want to say, be it Texas or anywhere, you need to learn about people before you make a decision on if you like or do not like them. You cannot take someone else's word for a whole race, a whole culture, a whole gender. You got to take every case individually. And then one bad apple cannot ruin the whole bunch.
But do people like you and I even know anyone like that or hang out with people that are blatantly racist or will judge somebody by their race in their own minds, putting stereotypes in it?
And can I tell you, I hate to say this, but sometimes Asians can be extremely racist. And
True.
the sad thing is, against each other. Japanese against Koreans, Koreans against Vietnamese, against Chinese, against Filipino, against Malaysians. Like there's a big Asian hierarchy. More even so in the older generation's minds. Yeah, I've encountered it with my own people, with a lot of people. I remember walking out of Randall's in Texas. It's a grocery store. Our shopping cart, when you're unloading your shopping cart and it accidentally, because it's so heavy, kind of rolls. And it rolled and it hit this woman next to us, her shopping cart. She looked at my father, and we'd probably been in the States now. I was 10, probably 9 years. My father has always had a very thick accent. And she looked at him and she goes, why don't you go back to where you came from? I was only 10, but I was still feisty back then. And I knew too back then, I knew how to use words. But I thought in my head, I was so mad. I was really mad. Because she could have, and my father apologized profusely too, but she could have said anything like, watch your cart. She could have said it mean. It would have been fine. But what she said had nothing to do with the situation at hand, which too correlates into what's happening now. A lot of stuff that's happening now has nothing to do with the bigger issue. And I think everyone knows what I'm talking about, right?
This social unrest right now that we're having, we went from social distancing to social unrest has become, in the year 2020, it's become an issue of racism. And I will say that, being 65 years old, I've lived through riots in the late 60s in New York,
which is
still a racially charged area, right?
Yeah, this is my first time encountering any of this. And I was born during the Vietnam War, lucky enough to have escaped it, but this is my first time seeing any of this. And what happened in LA, I was in Texas shooting, and I was watching literally in my backyard. 2 blocks over is where CeeNN was covering. I was watching it every night after I got off work, and I just could not imagine this happening. I thought to myself, protesting, and rallying together for a cause, but not looting, setting fire to police cars, ruining businesses that had been there forever. For what? Going in, smashing and grabbing. This has nothing to do with the situation at hand. And my friend told me, I was getting updates from friends who were in town, and they said, you know what? It's the teens and the 20-year-olds doing it. And it's very sad to me because these are the people we're looking to change the world. But my take on it now that I'm older is I think when you're younger, you just want something to be a part of. Sometimes you really don't know what you're being a part of. You're just joining that mass mentality. You're jumping because everyone else is jumping.
Yeah, but look who's been involved in the protest, which some of them turned into riots. I understand there's
Yeah.
two different sections or factions or what have you, but there are people of all ages that are standing up for racial
I
injustice
love
right now
that.
with respect to black people. But
I really appreciate that, but it's great that you go out and you rally and you walk and you protest. And I would hope that everybody could if they can. Everyone has a way to speak up in their own way. You might not be the person that rallies and protests, because people have sent me messages saying, why don't you speak up? Why aren't you out there? You're always talking about equality and you're always so happy and this and that. And I trust and believe if I was in town, I would be out there walking as well. But what I don't appreciate is you do what you do. Don't come down on someone else how they choose to make a stand, okay? Look at my history, my track record. I live my truth, and I make a stand every day. The way I treat people, the way I talk, the things I put out there into the world, how I conduct myself. I make a stand for equality and justice and no one getting hurt every day. So whenever you come down on someone for not doing it your way, you are once again creating a problem. When there's a problem, you don't create another problem. You appreciate people for what they can do. You attack the people who attack you. You do not attack people who don't attack you.
well, then we have no right, or I have no right, to complain about protest. Maybe not even to complain about riot, because how can I possibly understand the strife in that community? I am not black. I've never been black. Doesn't
And I'm
matter.
not either,
It
you
does,
know?
and you aren't either. And you could say, well, what about the prejudice that I experienced as a youth? And you did. You were talking about
But
that
it's
earlier.
not the same,
but
like
it's
you
not
said.
the
You
same.
don't see an Asian person going through the same struggles that black people have gone through
That
for
was
decades.
That's a suppressed race in this country
And
for
it's
400
sad
years.
too, because someone might look at me and go, "You're not from here." And granted, I might not be, because I really do look like a foreigner. But the African
You
Americans.
don't anymore, though. You don't now. In
I'm
this
not
decade.
ethnically unambiguous. We can go into that whole thing, but we won't. But anyway.
I am, but you're not. But nobody's looking at you and going, "Oh, an Asian woman." Well,
I know,
tell
but
me
you know
about
why
your
too?
life.
It's I think I'm a little blessed because I'm chirpy, I'm bubbly, and I'm non-threatening. Okay. I grew up in Northwest Houston, where there was a very large African American population. The weirdest thing is I didn't really feel it there. But when I moved out, I felt it more like here in California, maybe because the black population doesn't talk about it much in Houston, but here everyone's like, California's very liberal and everyone's got their like hubs and everyone is like, pro this, pro that. And I appreciate that. And that's good because I couldn't tell the difference between Korean, Japanese, Chinese, or Vietnamese back in the day. I thought everyone was either Vietnamese or Chinese where I grew up. But what I'm saying is that I will never know what my black friends go through, but I can empathize with them because they're human, and no human needs to go through the things that the African American society has gone through. And it makes me sad because y'all grew up here too. How horrible is that? It's like my brothers growing up here and people saying to them, "Why don't you go back to where you came from?" And they were born in Houston. I empathize. I think to myself, how can you be born here, your ancestors be born here, and yet you still not have the same freedoms and liberties and the right to pursue happiness that other people that were born here have? It breaks my heart, and I just don't understand in the year 2020, the year of clear vision, right? It started out terribly, and it's not that we don't already have this horrible worldwide pandemic that is killing everybody regardless of race, culture, religion, everything, that we have to now have another race issue. It's unbelievable. And it's sad, but in a way, it brought to light, had this not been shown worldwide, and I'm so terribly sorry for George Floyd's family, because it's horrible enough to know it, but to see it and then to have everybody else see it. But this is a pain now that everybody can share. Every person out there can share now. I wish people would put each other in other people's shoes. I don't understand why people don't do that. Where is that golden rule of you do unto others as you want them to do unto you? It baffles me. That's why I was so silent for a while. I just don't know what to say anymore.
I'm guessing this is what it must feel like for a black person in this country, even in 2020 in some areas. And I can compare it to the COVID situation with us walking around with masks, with going to the supermarket. You see another human being within your frame of 6 or 10 feet, and you scurry away out of fear, out of whatever. And that must be what it's like, because I have no idea. I have no idea what
Oh,
it's
that's a
like to
good
be a
point.
black person, but a whole lifetime of somebody turning away from you because you look the way you do. You may be beautiful, but you have brown skin. And I'm not even talking about just black people, but anyone that's really brown or dark right now. There's always been prejudice. And I know that for a fact because I live in Los Angeles and I talk to people in all different shades of brown. And this is not uncommon for a brown person, but yet black people in this country are the ones that have been suppressed for almost 400 years. And how can we even discuss it? What gives us the right to discuss it without a black person at
Right.
this table?
But you have to, because if we keep on saying that, well, I don't know what it feels like, so I can't say anything. No, you can, because empathy. If you don't know what that means, you should definitely look it up. Seriously.
You shouldn't even be listening to this program if you don't know what.
There's always a time to learn. I learn a new word every day. Empathy. Empathy is simple. Put yourself in that person's shoes. It sounds so cliche or trite or whatever. Put yourself in that person's shoes. Put yourself in the fella's mom's shoes, his brother's shoes. Do you know what I'm saying? We don't do that enough. And it's too easy a cop-out to say, well, I'm not that, so I don't know what to say, so I'm not going to say anything. I fault everybody, actually, for the race problem. I fault everybody for this. If you have ever sat by, because I'm a big proponent of see something, say something. I don't have the most friends. I mean, I have a lot of people that maybe like me or, you know, are acquaintances or whatever. But real friends, I probably have a handful because I'm very outspoken. I am very opinionated. And sometimes that makes me not very likable. But the one thing is that if I see something wrong for myself, oh, sure enough, you're going to get it. But even anyone I know, my friends, my family, even someone on the street, if I see someone getting hurt, I'm not big, okay? But I'm scrappy. I stand up for what's right. Whether it be just me saying something, I might not be able to stop it, but for that 1 second, it will stop. It might go on again because I'm too small to do anything about it. But I'm never going to sit back and let something happen that I don't think is right. And that's someone getting hurt. And so what I fault people for is, if you ever hear someone getting hurt and you just don't say anything, you're a part of the problem too, okay? Not say anything. Yeah, silence is very loud. And silence by multitudes of people is deafening. So when you sit back and let anybody be made fun of, in a comedy club, it's a little bit different, okay? Because I'm a comedian too, so, you know, there's a caveat to it. But in life, it's like when you see someone getting bullied, when you see your friend getting hurt, when you see someone putting someone down for their color, their religion, and I'm not talking about debate. Honest debate is fine. But when you see someone getting cut down, being called the N-word, a chink, all these other words, I'll say what people call us. I'm not going to say the other things. But when you sit back or when you laugh, you are also a part of the problem. So if you go out and protest, and that's fine, right? Because it's something to do. There's thousands of other people now. You feel safe doing it, right? You're bigger if you do it by yourself in every single way. If you have a profile and you put something on Facebook and someone comments in a terrible way, you need to delete that. You need to delete it or block that person. Because you even leaving that up there, you add fuel to the fire. You don't know that, but you just added another squirt of propane to this race relations fire. That's what I'm saying. I appreciate everybody who protests or everything. What makes me wonder is, I really hope these people who come out in droves now, who are waving flags, saying this and that, because millions of other people are doing it. I hate that it took a man's life, a man being murdered on national television, for people to get this upset. It hurts my heart to feel like this is what had needed to happen. And the thing is, it's not that it needed to happen. It's happened all the time. But the fact that everybody in the world saw it. Everybody in the world saw it. The world over, Europe, everybody. But don't stop with your protesting, your Saturday or Friday protesting. You got to stop it at the source. If you are in a supermarket and you hear someone call someone a name or be really rude to someone, you just need to say, hey man, hey lady, That's not right. Don't do that. That's not right. That's all you need to say. You did your thing. At least you said something. And at least that person stopped for a second and heard you. Whether or not they're going to do anything, whatever. But imagine if enough people did that to the same person every time they said something. Don't you think that person would feel a bit ostracized? Don't you think that person would stop doing what they're doing? It's great when people get something to rally against. But it's you as a person, as a single person. You need to do something with your own life to stop things. And thank God that enough people maybe are looking within themselves now and going, I need to go out there. Maybe that's why there's so many mobs. And I applaud everybody. And I'm not trying to come down on anyone. And I don't know anybody out there. But what I'm saying is that I hope that this is not your first time standing up for what's right. I hope this march, because George Floyd got murdered, was not your first time standing up for something that went wrong. Because I trust and believe, I bet you, in your life, you've seen someone get hurt. And I hope that during that time, you said something. And you just didn't pshaw and walk on. Because when you did that, you put one nail in the coffin. And enough nails in the coffin will cause a death, and that's what happened.
I almost have nothing to add to that. That was beautifully spoken. What is the next step beyond that, though? What else can we do as a society to change the culture, to have it evolve?
It comes down to, because we live in a democracy, and our democracy is we elect people, right? I'm not going to get political on this, but what I say is that we need to elect people who have the same mindset that we do. And I'm really hoping that our mindset collectively is going to be that we treat everybody with respect. I had a chat with a friend today, and we were talking about the administration, why people elect the people they do. People have different motivating reasons, right? And a lot of times, personal gain is a big part of it, whether that personal gain is more liberties, more freedoms, better financial success when it comes to business. There's a lot of reasons people elect people into the offices they elect. But at one point, you have to hope and pray that everybody wants to be financially successful. Okay, it comes down to that basically, because with money comes the relief of other worries, right? So I don't blame anyone for wanting more money, being more successful. But at one point, you need to temper that with humanity. Okay, because you put someone in office that is going to give you a lot of tax breaks and you'll do fine, whatever. And that's good, you'll do well. But there's overall picture, right? We need to look at the overall picture. And I kid you not that if you keep on looking at small silos of business, it comes down to freaking money. An actor. It all comes down to money. Think about this too. Every company, right? Think about the Martha Stewarts and the Gordon Ramsays and everything. So you have a niche group of people that are going to buy your things, but you know where you make the most money? Who makes the most money? Like the Walmarts. That's why every big designer eventually goes into Target, into Walmart, into whatever. Who are the people that go shop at these places? This is the general population, all right? In this general population are a lot of people of color, of everybody. If you just try to help yourself, at one point you're going to hit a wall and you're going to realize you helped yourself into a dead end because you didn't help the people that have been helping you all along. As collectively, we have to vote. You have to get out there and vote in November. You have to look at everything that's happened. And whether you vote Republican or whether you vote Democrat, it's your choice. But you have to look at everything that's going on. I don't understand why anyone would not choose a better way.
I've been thinking a lot about this, and it has been a completely polarized political issue, all of this, including COVID, and then what we have going on right now. It's completely politicized, but I don't believe that there is an answer coming from either party from politics. I just don't think it's working. We're not there. We're never going to be there. Politics is not the answer.
It's the people. Because
it's really the people. We have to set aside politics and work at real solutions.
I think we forget, and I think also politics forgot, is that we are the people, right? These people we elect to lead us, they work for us.
They work for themselves.
Exactly, but the thing is we forget they work for us. And we are so used to now putting someone in office and then just going, okay, November, we're good. We did our job. No. You constantly have to keep them on track as well.
They're not listening to the people.
That's why you start, too, with your senators. Every election means something. So every time you have a chance to vote, you just have to be more involved.
The politicians have an agenda. The people don't. Everyone just wants to make sure that they have enough to eat, that the family's taken care of.
It just seems like it's,
Seriously.
Honestly, the more you think about it, and that's why I hate thinking about politics, the more I think about politics, the more I feel like it's a losing battle, man. The thing is, you can can vote someone into office and they will be genuine. And that's why I say it all comes down to you as a person.
That's where the fake smile lives.
Yeah. It all comes down to the person. And that's why I don't know how to make people better. The thing with greed, I was having a talk with my friend. I was in Texas and we were in a smaller town and she lives in a tiny town. And in tiny towns, sometimes politics can be very corrupt, very easily so. And it's sad because sometimes politicians do go into their office with everything great in mind to help the people, but when they're in there, man, that political go around gets to them, and all of a sudden, it's just like it's greed, and all of a sudden it becomes me, what's better for me, and they forget about the people that elected them. But I think this, people are only elected for a term. Only the judges have life terms. So that's what I'm saying. If someone is doing something wrong, get them out. That's why we have limits on terms. It's just like anything in life. Man, I effed up. You got another chance. Okay? You have another chance. So let's say we messed up on putting someone in office that might not be so good for us. We've got another chance. Let's make this chance work. I believe in all people. I even believe in people that have not done well. I've constantly thought to myself, and these 4 years, I keep on thinking, here's another chance. Do it right. And I still feel that way, hopefully. It just takes one turn of events to change someone's outlook and change the world's outlook. It would be wonderful if someone was listening and heard this and had a change. And you never know, and that's why I keep on talking. Eventually, maybe someone will hear, or maybe enough people will hear and start talking too, and we'll all start saying the same thing, feeling the same way, and things will get better.
Again, well put, and I think a proper course of action is exactly what you suggested earlier. If you see something, say something and be forceful about it. Don't be violent, don't yell, but just get in their face and connect and say it.
One person will tell me something nice, and it's like, that's nice. And another, it builds up. Anger builds, but also goodwill builds too. Okay, everything builds. Seriously, take a scale, right? A grain of rice is nothing. I'm gonna tell you what. Eat 30,000 grains of rice. That's something. So
that's bloated something.
Yeah. So that's why I say, if you see something, you got to say something. If enough people say something to one person, to a group, they will start to feel ostracized. They will start to feel wrong. Sometimes I've always been like, I'm right. But then I think to myself, God, 4 of my friends said that to me. I think it's me. I don't think I'm right. And if you're not, then you're a sociopath, and then we have the justice system to deal with you.
So what else you got going on, Christine?
Oh my, I know. All right. Wow. So heavy, Mabel. I don't know. I mean, I thought that we had this pandemic going on and that was enough to deal with. We're quarantined. I finally got out to work. I saw people getting out to work. I saw people so happy just to sit in a restaurant, even though they were by themselves, just to be out and about. I'm really happy right now that people are starting to not be so neurotic. I'm scared still, though, because I turn on the news, and I'm happy that things are starting to rev up again, but then you turn on the news and you hear, oh, the cases are spiking. I just came from Texas, and fair enough, if you see me out and about and you shun me, I totally get it. I'll have my mask on, and that's fine. As long as you don't say anything mean to me, it's cool. But I was just in Texas. They've been quarantined there forever. I've been quarantined. Texas opened up to start work, so I went where the work was because I need to work. I have bills to pay as well. So I went there to work, and it's a red state. Different states are dealing with things different ways. And when I was there, I honestly felt like I was like, wow, it's business as usual. No one's really scared. I mean, I'd say from what I saw, the areas I was in, maybe 25% of the population was wearing masks. But every company, store I went into, all the workers, I applaud all the commercial entities out there for really stepping up and being like, if our workers are going to be out there every day working, we're going to supply them with the right PPEs, and they're also going to keep our customers safe too. And I applaud that. Every shopping carts, one-use spray down. I started feeling really good. And then I turn on CeeNN, and then they talk about the number of COVID cases spiking in Texas and in California. And then once again, I'm deflated. But I think, well, okay.
Why watch any of that?
Yeah, that's to the point where, you know why I watch? because I need to know some news, but I don't watch just one channel. I watch multiple channels, and then I also read. It's almost like doing a taste test. You can't just taste test 2 people. You got to taste test like 100 to get a proper feeling of what's going on. And then I know myself. I still need to be cautious. Everyone else still needs to be cautious, but no one needs to be neurotic. And at one point, we need to start getting back to life as we know it. It'll be a little bit different, but we need to start getting back to life as we know it, because right now, life as we know it has stopped, and it's terrible. The economy has stopped. And once the economy stops worldwide, I mean, it's just like this horrible financial apocalypse. Like we talk about the zombie apocalypse. It's sad because, I'm in the movies and entertainment industry, and what makes me scared is that life is imitating the movies now, and that's not how we want it. We want it the opposite way around. Our life is imitating movies now, and we're better than that because we can control things. I think the sad thing is, in movies, we can control our ending. We can have a Hollywood ending. In life, if we don't control what we do, we're not going to have a Hollywood ending.
Usually the Hollywood ending comes after great turbulence, or what can also be called makeup sex. It's like when you've got some real calamity, the Hollywood ending comes out of that. The Hollywood ending just doesn't happen in storybook fashion where everybody's getting along wonderfully, and then to top it off,
you only have 2 hours.
So
you gotta so it's got to be a U or a V. But when I say a U or a V, you get it right. It goes downhill real quick, and then you're downhill. Then it's gonna go uphill real quick. So let's make this a V. Like we hit our low point. Let's surge now together. And I'm sad to say, I guess we had a W. We had the COVID, and now we've got this race relations problem. So we hit like 2 terrible low points. Let's hit that high points again. I will always cheer on the fact that we can turn things around. We can always turn things around. That's why I'm sad when people can't see anything but the gray. It's okay if you have a bad day. Don't take your bad day outside and make other people have a bad day. But misery loves company. My company, I don't think wants misery. I don't want misery. And I think it's selfish too. If you're miserable, if you're unhappy, put on your big girl panties and your big boy shorts and just deal with it, and then bring your best out into society.
Well, I don't think I have any big boy panties around here.
Don't worry, I don't even wear panties, so who am I to talk, right? But I honestly believe that really bad things have happened in the last 4 years. Bad things have happened. This past year, so many bad things have happened. In the whole sphere of these bad things happening, I think it made a lot of people stop. The world was moving so fast. How can we not move fast, right? Laser speed internet, laser speed cars, everything's fast. Breakneck speed. When you hit breakneck speed, you even hit like a minor bump, you can have the biggest crash ever. And I think that's where we're headed, and I think we crashed. So let's pick up the pieces together. Nothing is unsalvageable. Nothing is unsalvageable. Don't ever sit here and think it's over. And we got to stop blaming everybody for everything. We cannot bring George Floyd back, okay? What we can do is make his death not be in vain. What we can do is we have to admit that was wrong. I love all people. I'm a person of color. If you and I don't get along, 100%, it's on you and not on me. Because I always give 100% for everyone I have, everyone that I know. I've never not gotten along with anyone until I've been attacked. I post all the time, and I haven't really been on social media too much to read other people's stuff because I've been working like 14 hours a day. So I'll post something, but I wanted to speak out a little bit about this terrible, unnecessary murder. I hashtagged Black Lives Matter, and then I also hashtagged All Lives Matter. I hashtagged it because I'm a journalism major, I'm an English major. All means everyone. Life means living, breathing. Matter means it's important. So what I was saying was every living, breathing thing, person matters. I did not know, and people were coming down on me saying, how can you say that? What do you mean by all lives matter? As an English major, it meant exactly what the definition in Merriam-Webster dictionary means it to be. I meant that every living person who's breathing has a right to live and to freedom and to happiness. I did not know that a small population, or unfortunately maybe a big population of our society, was using that little thing, All Lives Matter, to mock Black Lives Matter. So if I offended you, I'm not going to say I'm sorry because I didn't mean it that way. And if you know me, don't attack me. One person asked me, though, why did you say All Lives Matter? And I explained to them. Don't come at me, though. Oh, you're a racist. You're one of them. Trust and believe. You put your record up against mine. You look at my track record of being a human being. You just ate your foot. So What I'm saying is that what I said meant from my heart that I think every person who is living, breathing matters. And it's unfortunate that a small population of very terrible people are using it as something to mock a horrible situation. No, I'm not gonna apologize. I don't fucking know what I have to apologize for not being able to peruse every news thing, every YouTube thing. I didn't know these people are out there mocking people. Don't start situations where there is none. Attack the problem at hand. Don't attack every other thing, because you're going off left and right. I just wanted to clear that up, that when I say that, anyone that has a problem with me can easily ask me. I'm ready to debate and talk to anybody. Don't attack me, though. Because honestly, I'm not going to attack you back. I mean, I have a bigger platform. I'll attack you in a podcast. But I will not attack you. I will just delete you and erase you. Because if you can't have a civilized conversation with me before going at me and attacking me with vicious words, then I don't need to have a conversation with you, because you're not worth my time. It's very unfortunate that these people were using that slogan, because I think all lives matter means something. Every life matters. Every black life matters. Every Asian life. Every living, breathing person's life matters. That's what I meant by it. I love analogies, right? I've always made it known that I love analogies. Let's say a horrible group of people stopped eating chicken. You gonna attack everyone that eats chicken now because all these people eat chicken? I know, but the thing is, it sounds silly, but it's true.
It's a great analogy.
It is true. A small group of people are taking words and turning them, and you are attacking people now who might not even know that. Blame the people who are doing the wrong thing. And the thing is, too, don't ever blame someone unless you talk to them first, unless they prove to you that they're a bad person. It's so easy for us, right? All our keyboard commandos. It's so easy for you to voice your opinion to every unknown person that you've never talked to, you've never sat and had a conversation with. It is so easy for you to get in a huge email or text war with them. No, I don't think, I mean, that's easy. Well, here's my thing. Write a letter to your congressman then. Or is it easier for you to get on Facebook and write a little thing on Facebook? You want to make a difference? Write a letter to your congressman. Get on the street. Don't attack people that you don't even know, that you've never had taken the time to get to know. This kind of stuff bugs the heck out of me. It's so easy, especially people who might be in the media or, in the public's eye a little bit more, so easy to get attacked. You need to sit back and look at what you do, because I kid you not, sometimes people attack me and I'm like, let me look at their page. I can say some really rude things now, but I won't, because I can attack a lot of people back, but I choose not to. But what I'm saying is that you really want to make a difference, stop veering from the issue. Honoring the flag is not an issue right now. I'm going to say this, and I know it's not going to come out right, but I'm not always right. Taking the knee is not an issue, except for one big one that happened. Someone took a knee that took a life. That's an issue. Everyone has freedom of expression. But when you take a life, that's not freedom of expression. You are going against the constitution of the country that you live in, that you try to prosper in. Like, I'm trying very hard not to get upset, because I get upset, I start crying. But this stuff means something to me. I don't like people. They take a problem and they make the problem worse. Stay home. You're not helping us. Hey, you want to help? Help. If what you do every day is not positive, it's not going to make things better. Okay. You're walking down the street, you're protesting, and I saw this really cool meme that said, oh, I'm sorry I'm inconveniencing you, but I'm trying to make a difference, right? Okay, that's fine. You're not really hurting anybody, you're making an inconvenience. Now, you throw a Molotov cocktail into a store, and you set that store on fire, whether it's a CVS, that is a huge corporation, or whether it's a mom and pop shop that's been there for 20 years, and they will never be able to absorb this and recover from it. Either way, you did not help, right? But when you walk down the street, when you write a letter, when you sit down and you refuse to move, it gets me so upset, because to me it seems almost second nature that human nature should be caring and should be empathetic, because we're all the same. I can't imagine a person that sits by and watches another person get hurt and not do anything or say anything or try to stop it. And I mean, I might be the first person that gets punched, and I have been accidentally punched or gotten a line of fire before for trying to stand up for something or someone. And not everyone is willing to do that. Maybe I'm an idiot, but whatever. I can't see sitting by as a single person or as 10 people or as 50 people or as a nation or a state and watching one person get hurt, not a whole race of people. That's even worse. To sit by and watch one person get hurt and not do a thing. How can you go home at night? How can you go home at night and sleep? It's beyond me. Perhaps it's because someone sat by and watched you get hurt and no one helped you. Do you know how you're going to heal from that? Because I know the hurt and the anger, because I've been hurt. And for a while, I hurt people because I was hurt and I was ready to fight. But at one point I stopped and I thought, you know what, it's not helping anyone and it's definitely not helping me. And when I turned it around and I started fighting for other people and for myself, that's when I felt a certain peace come over me. Because at that point, I felt a purpose in life. If you hurt people, and I get it, a lot of people hurt people because they're hurt, or because no one stood up for them. Well, you know what? We can't go back and we can't change what happened to you. I can't change what happened to me. But you can change the future. And if you try to make it better, you'll feel so much better. This chain of hurt and anger, it's self-defeating. It's self-defeating. And the thing is, I'm going to tell you something. Anger takes a lot more fuel to keep it going than happiness. Don't deplete yourself of your life by adding fuel to something that doesn't really add anything to your life. I'm sure there are hate parties out there, but most parties are fun. Join the fun and join the party. Stop using the fuel you have in your life to add to a losing or a bum party. Use the fuel that you have.
Let's bring back the summer of love. There's a big love vacuum in this country right now. We need to fill that vacuum with love and kindness.
I thought we were getting there too, because with the whole COVID pandemic, a lot of people are trying to be nicer to each other just because we couldn't see each other.
Exactly.
Just because we were alone all the time, and all of a sudden you go out and people are just a little bit more courteous. I'm like, hey, how are you? How you doing? Because they're like, oh my God, I haven't seen a person in ages. I really thought we were going somewhere, and then just shame on this officer for doing what he did, and he put the broom handle in this beautifully set up wheel that we had that was moving towards just better social relations and a better society. Shame on him. But the thing is, we can't bring George Floyd back. We can't bring any of these people who have lost their lives to racial injustice, any kind of injustice back. We can't, okay? And if you can't change that, and if you do, you're fighting a losing battle. What you can change is moving forward. Don't hate the beast so much that you become the beast yourself. Seriously.
Christine Wynn, thanks again for coming out to Malibu and sharing your thoughts and views in this podcast. It's always great to see you. I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you, and I hope you do have me back. I hope I didn't scare you off this time, but honestly, I have nothing but love for everybody, even for someone who's hurt me. I always feel like everything can be changed. It just takes a second to flip the script. And I hope everybody out there, no matter what situation you're in, I hope you look at yourself and you continue to be the great person you are. Or if you're not, you look at yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. And if you're not happy with what you see, or if there's anything that makes you feel a little uncomfortable, dig deep or talk to someone. Hey, hit me up. I will talk to you. Send me a message. I have no problem talking to you. But if you send me not a nice message, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to fight with you. I'll just let it go, because I have other people that I want to help and that I think can help me. Anyways, love all of you. And if you do want to send me that message, feel free to do so. You can do it on my social media. On Twitter, my handle is, I'll spell it out for you, N as in Nancy, CRY, S as in Sam, TEA, N as in Nancy. On my Facebook, you can messenger me, or you can just straight up send me or reply to a post and comment. And my Facebook handle is the number 1, my name, Christine with the CH, last name NGUYEN, and the number 1 after that. And then on my Instagram, my handle is the number 1 in my name, Christine with the CH, Wynn, NGUYEN. Thanks so much, Ellis, for having me out to the wonderfully marine-layered Malibu, but it's burning off now and the sun's coming out, which I hope the sun comes out for everybody else too.
Always good to see you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
I've been chatting with actor, model, and journalist Christine Wynn at the Malibu studios of the Ellis Martin Report. Subscribe. It's free.
Would you like to be one of the first to see who we are following? Subscribe to our audio newsletter. It's free. EllisMartinReport.com.